All right, let's dig in. We're tackling some dense material today.
Oh, yeah.
Excerpts from 1 Chronicles.
That's right.
Not exactly a beach read, but I
Yeah.
promise you there are
It's
some real gems hidden in this ancient text.
absolutely. And we're going deep.
Yeah.
We're not just skimming the surface here.
No.
We're going deep into genealogies and stories surrounding King David,
Yeah.
uncovering the hidden gems that might surprise even those familiar with biblical history.
We're talking power struggles, military victories, even a king's mistake with some pretty dramatic consequences.
Oh, yeah.
Think of it like this. We're piecing together a puzzle with some pieces already in place.
Right.
What do you already know about this period?
Yeah.
Hold on to those thoughts because we're going to connect them to some aha moments that I guarantee you'll find fascinating.
You're going to learn something today, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So let's start with the foundation,
Okay.
the genealogies.
Yeah.
Now, I know family trees might not sound like a thrill ride,
Right.
but in First Chronicles, they're not just about who begot whom.
Okay.
They establish authority and legitimacy,
Mm-hmm.
particularly for the priestly and royal lines.
It's like a who's who of ancient Israel.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the stakes are incredibly high.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these lineages determine who has the right to rule, who holds religious power.
It's the fabric of their society.
Yeah, the very fabric of their society.
Exactly.
Take Nimrod, for example.
Oh, yes, Nimrod.
He's described as a mighty warrior descended from Noah.
Right.
What makes him stand out in this long list of names?
Well, Nimrod is, he's a fascinating figure.
Yeah.
He's almost an archetype of a powerful, even tyrannical ruler.
Interesting.
His story, though brief,
Yeah.
hints at the complexities of leadership and the potential for power to corrupt.
Ooh, that's good.
It's a theme that echoes throughout Chronicles and still resonates with us today.
It's a reminder that power dynamics haven't changed all that much, have they?
Not really, no.
Then what about those repeating names in the genealogies?
Yes.
Like they keep popping up in different branches of the family tree.
It highlights the interconnectedness of these families and tribes,
Yeah.
suggesting intermarriage and alliances
Okay.
that weave a complex tapestry of relationships and rivalries.
So it's not just a straight line.
No, it's a web
It's a web.
of interconnected stories.
Yeah, and sometimes those stories take unexpected turns.
Oh, they do?
Like the story of Reuben losing his firstborn rights.
Oh, yeah. That's huge.
That's a huge deal in this culture, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In ancient Israel, the firstborn son inherited a double portion of the family's wealth and held a position of honor and responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But Reuben, the firstborn of Jacob, made a grave error, and his rights were transferred to the sons of Joseph.
Wait, what did he do?
Yeah,
The text just says he defiled his father's bed,
right.
which sounds pretty serious, but leaves a lot to the imagination.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a euphemism, but one with profound implications.
Okay.
Essentially, he committed an act that undermined his father's authority and disrupted the family hierarchy.
Yeah.
As a result, the tribe of Judah, from which King David descends,
Yeah.
eventually rises to prominence.
So imagine the ripples of this event.
Right.
I mean, it shaped the very course of Israel's history.
Changed everything.
It's mind-blowing to think that one event so long ago could have such far-reaching consequences.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It makes you wonder about the turning points in our own lives and the choices that shape our destinies.
Absolutely.
And speaking of the tribe of Judah,
Yes.
their military strengths is highlighted in 1 Chronicle.
Oh, yeah.
Issachar alone boasts 87,000 warriors.
That's a lot of warriors.
That's a serious army.
It is.
What does that tell us about the size and organization of these tribes?
While these numbers might be symbolic,
Okay.
they convey a sense of scale and military capability.
Mm-hmm.
These weren't small scattered groups.
Okay.
They were organized forces capable of mobilizing large numbers of men,
Right.
which becomes crucial as we delve into David's rise to power.
So we've gone from seemingly dry genealogies
Right?
to themes of power ambition and even betrayal.
Yep, all in the family tree.
Who knew family trees could be so dramatic?
They can be.
But there's another layer to this story, and it involves music.
Yes.
Let's move on to the Levites and their crucial role in ancient Israel.
The Levites were more than just musicians.
Okay.
They were a tribe, set apart for service to God,
Mm-hmm.
responsible for maintaining the tabernacle, preserving sacred knowledge, and leading worship.
Mm-hmm.
David, recognizing their importance, organized them for both temple service and musical duties.
I love the detail about David supplying instruments for worship.
Yes.
What would that ancient orchestra have sounded like?
Oh, it's fascinating to think about.
Can you paint us a picture?
Imagine lyres, harps, cymbals, and trumpets.
Oh, wow.
A rich tapestry of sound meant to inspire awe and reverence.
So this wasn't just background music.
Oh, no.
It was an integral part of their spiritual experience,
Abs-
expressing joy, lament, and everything in between.
That's right.
It's amazing how music transcends time, isn't it?
It is.
Even thousands of years ago, it was a powerful force connecting people to something greater than themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And this ties in with David's passion for bringing the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Ark, a sacred chest, believed to contain the Ten Commandments,
Right.
represented God's presence among the Israelites.
Okay.
Bringing it to Jerusalem was both a political and religious triumph for David,
Yeah.
solidifying his rule and demonstrating his devotion to God.
But not everyone was thrilled about this, were they?
No, they weren't.
I'm thinking of Michal, David's wife,
Right.
who despised him in her heart for dancing before the Ark.
Yes, a very strong reaction.
Why such a strong reaction?
Well, Michael's reaction reveals the complexities of their relationship
Right.
and the different ways people viewed religious expression.
Okay.
Perhaps she saw David's exuberance as undignified,
Yeah.
a departure from the more restrained religious practices she was accustomed to.
It's a clash of personalities and a reminder that even within families, there can be vastly different perspectives on faith and tradition.
Absolutely.
But David's ambition doesn't stop with the Ark.
No, it doesn't.
He sets his sights on an even grander project,
He does.
building a temple for God.
A logical next step.
Yeah, he's consolidated his power, brought the Ark to the capital.
Right.
A temple would be the ultimate symbol of his reign and his devotion.
Right.
But there's a twist, isn't there?
There is.
God has a surprising response to David's temple plans.
He does.
Yeah.
God tells David quite bluntly that he shed too much blood and is therefore not the right person to build the temple. It's a restriction that might seem harsh at first,
Yeah.
but it reflects a deeper understanding of God's nature and his plans.
I'm picturing David at the height of his power.
Right.
Receiving this news.
Yeah,
Talk about a reality check.
that's one way to put it.
It's a powerful reminder that even the best of intentions doesn't guarantee divine approval.
That's for sure.
So if David can't build the temple, who will?
Well, God designates David's son Solomon as the one destined for this task.
Okay.
He's described as a man of peace,
Yeah.
which hints at the qualities God values in leadership.
So it's a classic example of divine timing, where God's plan unfolds in ways we might not expect.
Exactly.
But David doesn't just sit back and pout, does he?
No, he doesn't.
He pours his heart and resources into preparing for this temple,
Right.
even though he won't see it completed.
Absolutely.
He gathers vast amounts of gold, silver, cedar, and precious stones.
Yeah,
He commissions skilled artisans, organizes the Levites,
right.
and provides Solomon with detailed blueprints.
He was laying the groundwork for a truly magnificent structure driven by a deep desire to honor God.
This is dedication on a whole other level.
It is.
It makes you wonder what motivates such unwavering commitment,
It's extraordinary.
even in the face of personal disappointment. But we'll have to explore that in the next part of our deep dive.
We will.
Stay tuned because things are about to get even more interesting as we delve into David's later years and the legacy he leaves behind.
It's a wild ride.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to our deep dive into 1 Chronicles.
Yeah, good to be back.
Last time we left off with David facing a major turning point.
Right,
He was denied his dream of building a temple for God,
right.
but instead of giving up, he redirected his energy towards preparing for his son Solomon to take on the task.
He did.
It makes you think about how we handle setbacks, doesn't it?
It does.
Do we let disappointment cripple us, or do we find a way to move forward with purpose?
That's the question.
And in David's case, that something larger was a pretty big deal.
It was.
He was amassing an incredible amount of wealth and resources for the temple.
Yeah.
1,000,000 talents of silver,
Wow.
immeasurable quantities of bronze and iron,
Yeah.
precious stones, cedar wood.
Right.
It's almost impossible to grasp the sheer scale of this endeavor.
It's hard to wrap your mind around.
Yeah.
It speaks to the central role of the temple in ancient Israel.
Right.
It wasn't just a building.
Yeah.
It was the heart of their religious and national identity,
Okay.
a physical representation of their covenant with God.
And David's extravagant preparations demonstrate the depth of his devotion and his desire to create a truly magnificent dwelling place for the divine.
It's clear he wanted to honor God in a big way.
But even with all this preparation, David still makes a critical mistake.
He does.
He decides to count his warriors.
Right.
And as we know, this doesn't go over well with God.
Not at all.
What was so wrong about taking a census?
Yeah.
It seems like a practical thing for a king to do.
Well, in that time and culture, caning the people was seen as an act of pride,
Okay.
a way of putting trust in human strength rather than in God's provision and protection.
Interesting.
It was a subtle but significant shift in allegiance,
Okay.
suggesting that David was relying on his military might
Yeah.
instead of acknowledging God's sovereignty.
It's like he was momentarily blinded by his success.
Yeah, he forgot where his true strength came from.
Forgetting that true power ultimately rests with God.
Right.
And the consequences of his actions are swift and severe.
Oh, yeah.
God offers David 3 devastating judgments.
Right.
3 years of famine, 3 months of relentless pursuit by his enemies, or 3 days of a deadly plague.
Wow.
Faced with these horrific options, David chooses the plague,
He does.
believing that God's mercy is greater than the wrath of his enemies.
Right.
But even then, the consequences are heartbreaking.
Yeah.
70,000 people die.
It's a heavy price to pay.
It's a stark reminder that even the most righteous individuals can stumble, and that our choices have far-reaching consequences.
It's true, no one is immune to making mistakes.
I'm struck by David's response when he realizes the devastation he's caused.
Yeah, me too.
He pleads with God,
Right.
saying, I am the one who has sinned and done wrong.
Yeah.
These are but sheep. What have they done?
Powerful words.
It's a moment of raw honesty and profound remorse.
Yeah, it's a real turning point in this story.
And this is where the story takes an unexpected turn.
It does.
The setting for David's atonement isn't a grand palace or a holy mountain.
Right.
It's a threshing floor.
An ordinary place.
It's such an ordinary, everyday place.
Yeah.
What's the significance of this location?
Well, the threshing floor, typically used for separating grain from chaff,
Yeah.
becomes a powerful symbol of transformation and redemption.
Interesting.
It's in this humble place that David encounters God's judgment and mercy,
Right.
demonstrating that even the most mundane locations can become sacred through divine intervention.
The scene itself is incredibly dramatic, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
David sees the angel of the Lord, sword drawn,
Right.
standing between heaven and earth,
Yeah.
ready to strike Jerusalem.
It's a powerful image.
It's a chilling image of impending doom.
It really highlights the seriousness of the situation.
And amidst this intense scene, we see a glimmer of hope.
We do.
God instructs David to build an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor, which belongs to a man named Ornan, the Jebusite.
Right.
Who is Ornan, and why is this detail important?
Well, Ornan is a Jebusite,
Okay,
one of the original inhabitants of Jerusalem,
right.
which highlights the theme of reconciliation and the inclusion of those outside the Israelite community.
Okay.
When David arrives at Ornan's threshing floor,
Yeah.
Ornan offers it to him for free,
Really?
along with everything needed for the sacrifice.
Wow.
An act of extraordinary generosity.
But David insists on paying full price, doesn't he?
He does.
Why is that so important to him?
David understands that true repentance requires sacrifice.
Okay.
He refuses to offer a gift that cost him nothing.
Yeah.
He wants this act of atonement to be genuine,
Right.
a tangible demonstration of his remorse and his willingness to make amends.
It's like he's saying, this isn't just about words. It's about putting my money where my mouth is.
Exactly.
And his actions speak louder than any apology could.
That's true.
So he buys the threshing floor and builds the altar.
Right.
And then something amazing happens.
What was that?
As David offers the burnt offerings and peace offerings,
Yes.
fire comes down from heaven and consumes them.
Wow.
It's a powerful sign of God's acceptance.
It is.
A visible manifestation of his forgiveness and grace.
A sign that he's been forgiven.
The plague is lifted and the threat of destruction is removed.
What a relief.
It's a moment of profound relief and reconciliation.
It is a moment of healing and restoration.
David's heartfelt repentance and his willingness to sacrifice paved the way for healing and restoration.
And that's a lesson for all of us.
But his journey isn't over yet.
True.
Although he can't build the temple himself,
Right.
he dedicates his remaining years to preparing for its construction.
He does.
What motivates him to continue this work,
Yeah.
even though he won't see it completed?
Well, it speaks to the depth of his faith and his unwavering commitment to honoring God. David's actions demonstrate that true leadership isn't just about personal ambition or achievement.
Yeah.
It's about serving something greater than ourselves.
Right.
And investing in a future we may not live to see.
It's a powerful message that resonates across time and cultures.
It really does.
But before we dive into David's final preparations for the temple,
Okay.
let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned so far.
Good idea.
What stands out to you?
Well, for me,
Yeah.
I'm struck by the complexities of David's character.
Yeah.
His ambition, his passion,
Right.
his flaws, and his ultimate humility.
Okay.
He's a reminder that even the most revered figures are human,
Yeah.
capable of both great and terrible things.
It's a human story, isn't it?
It
A
is.
story of ambition and failure,
Right.
repentance and redemption.
That's the human experience in a nutshell.
And it's a story that continues to unfold as we explore David's final act as king and the legacy he leaves behind.
That's right, there's still more to come.
Stay tuned as we unpack the final chapter of this deep dive into 1 Chronicles. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've journeyed through King David's highs and lows,
Oh, yeah.
his triumphs and mistakes,
That's right.
and now we're entering the final chapter, his elaborate preparations for the temple.
Yeah, the grand finale.
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it?
It is.
He yearned to build this grand structure, yet he poured his heart and soul into ensuring its success,
Right.
even though he knew he'd never witness its completion.
It's quite remarkable, really.
It's a testament to his character, wouldn't you say?
It really is.
Imagine the level of humility and devotion required to redirect that burning ambition towards supporting his son's endeavor.
Right. It would be difficult for anyone.
Yeah,
David's actions reveal a deep understanding of legacy.
okay.
It's not just about what we achieve in our lifetime,
Yeah.
but about the foundations we lay for those who come after us.
It makes you wonder what was going through his mind as he meticulously planned every detail.
I know, it's fascinating to think about.
We're not just talking about a rough sketch here.
Oh, no.
David provided Solomon with detailed blueprints,
Right.
outlining everything from the temple porch to the inner sanctuaries,
He thought of everything.
treasuries, upper chambers,
Wow.
even a specific room for atonement.
It's like he was handing Solomon a treasure map, guiding him through every step of the construction.
Yeah.
These blueprints weren't just practical instructions.
Right.
They were a testament to David's vision for a magnificent dwelling place for God,
Okay.
a place where heaven and earth would meet.
And the resources he amassed.
Oh, yeah,
We talked about the vast amounts of gold and silver, but it goes beyond that.
it does.
He gathered immeasurable quantities of bronze, iron, wood, and stone.
An incredible amount of resources.
Materials fit for a king's palace, all dedicated to this sacred project.
Remember, the temple wasn't just a building.
Yeah,
It was the heart of their nation, the embodiment of their covenant with God.
right.
These extravagant preparations speak volumes about the importance they placed on their relationship with the divine.
Yeah,
It wasn't just about fulfilling a religious obligation.
okay.
It was about expressing their deepest devotion and creating a structure worthy of their God.
It's almost overwhelming to imagine the sheer scale of it all.
It's hard to comprehend.
And it wasn't just about bricks and mortar.
No,
David meticulously organized the priests and Levites,
he did.
assigning specific roles and responsibilities for the temple service.
He was a great organizer.
He even went so far as to lay out musical arrangements,
Really.
ensuring that worship would be an integral part of the temple's function.
David understood that a building, no matter how magnificent, is just a shell.
Right.
It's the people, the rituals, the music that breathe life into sacred spaces.
Yeah.
His attention to detail, his meticulous planning,
Right.
reveals a holistic vision for a vibrant spiritual center.
It's like he was choreographing a grand symphony with every instrument, every voice playing a crucial role in creating a harmonious whole.
Beautiful imagery.
But beyond the practical preparations,
Yeah.
David also offered Solomon something even more valuable:
What's that?
fatherly wisdom and guidance.
He was a good father.
He urged Solomon to be strong and courageous,
Right.
reminding him that the task ahead would be daunting but ultimately fulfilling.
Yeah, building the temple was no easy feat.
He cautioned him, saying, "If you seek him, he will be found by you, but if you forsake him, he will reject you forever."
Wow.
These words, though spoken in a specific context, carry timeless wisdom applicable to anyone facing a challenge or embarking on a new journey.
Absolutely, those words still resonate today.
It's a reminder that leadership isn't just about power or authority.
Right.
It's about humility, perseverance, and a willingness to seek guidance from a higher source.
These are qualities we should all strive for.
And in David's final address to the people, he calls for unity and support for Solomon,
He did.
recognizing that the temple's success depended on a collective effort.
It was a team effort for sure.
He understood that this wasn't just Solomon's project.
No.
It was a national endeavor, a testament to their shared faith and their commitment to building a future where God would dwell among them.
And the people responded with overwhelming generosity, didn't they?
They did.
Contributing vast amounts of their own wealth to the cause.
It's a beautiful display of unity and shared purpose, wouldn't you say?
It is. It's inspiring to see people coming together like that.
It reminds us that even in ancient times, people understood the power of coming together for a common goal.
Right.
Transcending individual interests for the sake of something greater.
It's a timeless lesson.
And then, in a final act of devotion,
Yes,
David leads the people in a powerful prayer of praise and thanksgiving.
he did.
He acknowledges God's sovereignty, his provision, and his faithfulness,
It's a beautiful prayer.
concluding a life marked by both remarkable achievements and profound failures.
You lived a full life, that's for sure.
It's a testament to a life lived in pursuit of something beyond himself, something that gave meaning and purpose to his existence.
His story challenges us to examine our own motivations.
Yeah.
Are we driven by personal ambition, or are we seeking to serve something larger than ourselves?
Right.
Are we willing to invest in a future we may not live to see?
And so, at a good old age, surrounded by loved ones, David dies,
He did.
leaving behind a legacy that would shape the course of Israel's history.
That's right. His impact was felt for generations.
His son Solomon ascends to the throne,
Yeah.
ready to fulfill the dream that his father so passionately prepared for.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
David's story, as chronicled in 1 Chronicles, isn't just about ancient history.
No, it's not.
It's a timeless exploration of leadership, faith, ambition, and the complexities of the human heart.
It's a story for all time.
It's a story that challenges us to examine our own lives, our own choices, and the legacy we hope to leave behind.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It's a reminder that our lives are intertwined,
Yes.
that our actions have consequences that ripple far beyond our own immediate circles.
Our actions matter.
What kind of impact are we making?
That's the question we should all be asking ourselves.
What seeds are we planting for future generations?
It's about leaving the world a better place than we found it.
That's something for each of us to ponder as we conclude this deep dive into 1 Chronicles.
It has been a fascinating journey.
Thanks for joining us.